Every year when I gear up for the Note 10 Plus comparison to the most recent S Ultra series device, I go in expecting to convince myself why it's time to move on from the Note 10 Plus. And when I do the Note 9, after using it for like an hour or so, even though the nostalgia hits me and I love it and all the rest of it, and I would love to use it again, after about an hour or so of use, I kind of get why it's time to move on from something like the Note 9. But when I pick up the Note 10 Plus and start using it, that never really hits me. I never really get that feeling that, geez, I really shouldn't be on this phone anymore. It really just isn't cutting it anymore. Sure, there's some things that you notice between the two. There's going to be obvious updates to the S24 Ultra, but when you go ahead and you sit there and you use your Note 10 Plus in 2024, there are still plenty of things to like about it. So while we're going to mention the S24 Ultra in passing, the Note 10 Plus is going to get the bulk of the conversation here today because I know that's the people who are watching. You're not watching this because you're like, oh, might want to decide between the two devices. I don't know which one I want to pick up. No, you're sitting there, probably even watching on your Note 10 Plus, looking for reasons, explanations, excuses, perhaps, to hold on to it for another year. And friends, even though I didn't want to admit it, even though I didn't come in with that as my goal in mind, you're going to get some ammunition here. You're going to get some ammunition here on why to stay with your Note 10 Plus another year. Let's talk about build. Obviously, you're not getting the titanium and the flat display on your Note 10 Plus, but it's still nice. Corning Gorilla Glass. It's not as dramatic of a curved display as the Note 9 was, so I appreciated that coming from the Note 9. It was a little easier to use your S Pen on the Note 10 Plus than it was on the Note 9, so that was quite good. Loved the way they only did it for a year. Listen, I complained about the button placement on the Pixel, but I love the power button on the left-hand side and the S Pen on the right-hand side, especially if you're a right-hander. That's the most natural way to do it. It feels phenomenal. It's a lighter and thinner device. Back when devices could be powerful, they didn't have to be 9 million pounds. They didn't have to be a super thick devices. This was a thin device. It was a powerful device, and it worked well, and it was power efficient. And that's something that we really have gotten away from. So if you told me that I could have something like this with a flat display in 2024, that's absolutely the design I would take over the S24 Ultra. Samsung Pay, stuff like that, old school stuff, micro SD card expandable storage. Sure, we lost the headphone jack from the S10 Plus, but we still kept some of the analog features that we knew and loved and we wanted carrying around. The old Samsung Pay was the best. I really hated when they got rid of that. So it was nice to come back to that for the Note 10 Plus. Display. I understand that we talked about the saturation levels on the S24 Ultra. And I know they're going to fix it, and I know all the rest of it. But even from the S23 Ultra, the S22 Ultra, it's been a steady decline in the saturation and the vibrance of the display. And when you get back to the just poppiness and just the sheer excellence of the Note 10 Plus display, you realize how far we've really come. And when I know this doesn't account for everybody because I know people like natural displays, and I know a lot of people want to sit there and they want to have natural colors and they need it and it's better for them and it's easier on the eyes. I get it. I just want a setting between the two. And if you like the poppier colors and the poppier displays, well, then the Note 10 Plus is fantastic. And you could really tell who didn't live through the pain of the late 80s and early 90s having to sit there on passive matrix displays, dual scan displays. I didn't live through that, through washed out colors, to come back and not have the most vibrant colors possibly imaginable on my phone displays. I'll tell you that much right there. The Snapdragon 855, this is a little weird because the Snapdragon 855 on my S10 Plus is not holding up. My S10 Plus is not holding up nearly as well as my Note 10 Plus, and I really can't identify why that is. Same processor, same amount of RAM in these devices. I don't know why my S10 Plus feels like a slug, whereas my Note 10 Plus is still relatively snappy. Could still run everything, still quite nice. Really enjoy it. I just updated everything. It just got its August patch. I don't know if that's the last one or not, but the August 2023 patch is the one running on this one, and that's what you're stuck with. Android 12, I believe, is where we were left on the Note 10 Plus, which is okay, relatively up to date. I don't have any security concerns right now, and there's plenty of people who would say they're going to put Lineage on it or something like that anyway, or Lineage probably. I keep saying Lineage. I don't know which one it is, but Lineage seems to make more sense just with words. But if you could do that, then that's something that keeps it alive a lot more longer than you'd think. Here are the things that you are going to notice from your S24 Ultra and your Note 10 Plus. If you haven't already replaced the battery, then you're going to notice a degradation there. I am getting, the last time I used this device fully, I was getting about 3.5, 4 hours of screen on time, which is almost half what you get now on these devices. So if you're still rocking your Note 10 Plus, I respect it, I get it, but you're probably glued to an outlet at this point. Or at least you have a battery pack or something to help get you through your day, because it's just not making it anymore the way it used to. It was never, these phones were never battery beasts to begin with. I think 5 hours is probably the most I ever got out of this device, maybe 5.5. Certainly not what we're used to today, but it's especially bad now after so many cycles on the device. You're going to notice the degradation there. Support we talked about. 7 years of support. One UI has come a long way, even from this version. I think it was One UI 4 was the last one we were left on here. One UI has come a long way. Really nice. Still super smooth and reliable. Still my favorite Android distribution. I know people, we've been having a lot of heated debates back and forth the past few days on the channel about that, whether Oxygen OS, which I think is, I don't know about that, but which one is is the smoothest distribution of Android. I would say the Google Pixel, Android 14 on the Google Pixel 8 Pro is certainly giving the S24 Ultra a run for its money this year, but still phenomenal software, so support does matter. The other thing you're really going to notice, and this is only, that might not even affect you. The thing that you're really going to notice is the cameras. These cameras on the Note 10 Plus were great for the time. Even a year afterwards, they were still plenty good. In fact, they were winning plenty of contests. You were surprised. These blind pick'em contests or something like that. The Note 10 Plus was doing much better than expected, even a year after release. But now, through no fault of the device itself, you could just see from the lenses itself, the sensors aren't big enough to pull in the kind of detail that you get now on these modern smartphones. And just look at these lenses in comparison. That's light. That's information that's coming in to help these images, and that's something that you're missing. So you take that, and then you put the computational stuff in there. You put the One UI 6.1 stuff in there, all the AI enhancements, what they're able to do with a photo. You give it more information than you can over here, and you're going to get a significantly better image. These images are a little dull, a little soft, not quite as sharp and clear as we get. Now, you might say that the Samsung stuff is oversaturated, but you're getting that either way anyway. So that's less of a conversation here as far as colors and saturation and stuff like that. And we're just dealing with kind of raw detail and image quality, and that's going to be significantly better on the S24 Ultra. But if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't bother you, I'm telling you right now, and there's plenty of Note 10 Plus users out there, I know, your day-to-day isn't that bad. Your day-to-day experience is actually probably still downright pleasant on this. Plus, you get all the enhancements and all the features that we've lost over time, like the micro SD card slot, like Samsung Pay, like the S Pen on the right side of the device, which I think is significantly better. There are plenty of things that you're still sitting and enjoying in 2024 that makes it a lot of you just don't want to get rid of your Aura Glow or whatever that color was. I would not want to get rid of my Star Wars version for anything. Rise of Skywalker Star Wars version. It's hard to believe that this device is going to be 5 years old this year. 5 years old in November. Really hard to believe. But if you're out there using it and you're enjoying it, let me tell you something. I originally, every year I come in here and thinking, well, I'm going to power this thing back up. I'm going to get using the Note 10 Plus again, and this is going to be the year it falls apart. This is going to be the year I can sit there and say, get rid of this thing. And while monetarily it might make sense for you to do that because you're picking up 7 years of support over here, so you're getting your money's worth on a trade-in, whatever they're offering now, several $100, which you would not get otherwise. If you don't need to, if you don't care about that, if you think, well, I'll wait for the S25 or 6 or whatever it happens to be, yeah, I think you can actually still be fine, believe it or not, on your Note 10 Plus in 2024. Hard to imagine, but in my eyes, it's true. Let me know what you think below. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.